Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm going to show you how to make such opening and closing Instagram story animation in SwiftUI. Go ahead and create a new Xcode project, call it Instagram story animation. The name is up to you, make sure to choose SwiftUI. Resume the live preview and pin it. The first thing we're gonna do is to bring all assets images. There are 10 thumbnail images 200 by 200 and portrait images 1080 by 1920. These are downloaded from Unsplash. Create 3 SwiftUI view files. The first is story view. This will show the full screen stories. The second is post view for the dummy post placeholders. The third and final is stories thumbnail view, which is the top scrollable thumbnail row. Inside the content view, delete everything and add a Z stack, and then inside that add navigation view. This is our main initial view. On top of the navigation view, we will show the full screen story view. Inside the navigation view, add a scroll view and set show indicator to false. Inside that, add a V-stack with spacing 16. Inside the V-stack, add stories thumbnail view, then post view. Then add an inline navigation title. Next, open stories thumb view and delete this preview. And then return a scroll view, set scroll direction to horizontal and show indicator to false. Inside that, add the H stack with spacing 16. And now if you notice, our assets images have numbers at the end, so we can add a range for each and access all 10 images without creating a data array. Inside the for each, we get access to the index. Return a Z stack from here. First, we are going to build the outer ring. Add a circle shape with stroke width 2. Then set frame width and height to 108 and foreground color to pink. After this, add an image view and access the thumb image from the asset image and pass the index to iterate over all of them. Then add resizable so the image resizes and fits within the given boundary. Then add scale to fit, then clip the shape to circle, then set the frame width and height to 100. Finally, add 16 padding on this H stack, and this is for the thumbnail row. Next, open post view. Delete the preview and add a for each with a range 1 to 19. We don't care about the index. Return a rounded rectangle shape with corner radius 16. Then add a frame with height 300. Then add horizontal padding 16. Then add linear gradient from top leading to bottom trailing. I made mistake, we must add the grading to the shape, not on the frame. With this, our dummy posts are finished. The navigation title should be on scroll view. Open story view and delete the live preview and return Z stack. Inside this, we are going to have 2 layers. First, we will have the main image and other UI components like text field and title, etc. On top of that, we are going to have the thumbnail image at the top left corner. And both layers will animate separately when they are opened or closed. So add a Z stack. Inside that, add the story image, which is the full screen vertical image. For now, we are going to hard code the assets image name. And we have to add resizable and scale to fit, then clip to rounded corner. Now after this Z stack, we are going to add our thumbnail image. Since we need to position it, we are going to add V stack and A stack to push it top left corner. We can copy image view from stories thumb view and change the frame width and height. Also add padding. Open content view and call story view. And we can see the view appeared. We need to add some padding at the top of the thumbnail image. The story view is now always visible. We need to toggle it when the thumbnail is tapped. So create a state variable show story. Then open stories thumb view and add @binding variable show story. Then show this image view when show story is paused. After the frame, add on-tap gesture and toggle story view. Open story view and add show story binding variable there as well. Then show this Z stack if show story is true, which is the main view. And then also show this image view when show story is true. Open content view and then bind the show story variable to stories thumb view and story view. Now if we tap on thumbnail, we can open the story view, but we need to dismiss now. So up here, add two separate variables of type CGFloat. Offset Y with initial value 0. This is the initial offset of story view, and scale with initial value 1, which is the initial scale when the story is opened. On story view, add offset modifier and set Y to offset Y, which is the vertical offset. Then add scale and pass the scale state variable. After that, add drag gesture. Then add on change and on ended. On change, when we drag our finger, we will get update. On ended, when we lift our finger after dragging. Outside the body, create a private function, call it onDrag, which takes drag gesture value. Also create another similar function called onDragEnded. Just copy and paste and rename it. Finally, add a reference to onChange and onEnded. Now inside the onDrag, first we will store the drag displacement value, which is how much is drag the amount. Call it dy. Then if the dy value is positive, which means drag towards bottom or downward, set dy to offset y and try to drag. And now it's possible to drag. Now we need to get the device height to calculate the scale animation. Before we implement scale animation, we need to reduce the drag offset amount. So divide dy by 2. And now it looks better. Next, set scale to dy by device height and try to drag. As we can see, we need to reverse the scale animation. So subtract this value from 1. And it's reversed now. Next, divide this value with 10, so this will reduce the scale animation. And of course, you can play around and change what you like. Next, inside onDragEnded, get dy and check if the drag ended in the positive direction, similar to onDrag. Inside this if block, we are going to check if dy value is less than equal to device height by 2. Inside this block, we will call with animation and set offset y and scale to initial value. So let me explain this to you. When the user drags and lifts his finger, and if the drag amount is less than half of the device height, we will restore the story view to original position, which is the full screen view. Since we call with animation, it will return back to normal with animation. But if we drag more than device height by 2 and let it go, it's stuck here. But we want this to be disappeared. So add an else block and inside that call with animation and toggle show story. And also add ease in curves with 0.4 seconds duration. And if we try to drag more than the device height by 2, it will disappear. But when it appears again, it restores its last dragged position. So we need to reset offset Y and scale value to initial value when we dismiss the story view. We can just copy and paste it from here. The drag animation is pretty much done. One thing we need to do is add a barrier behind the story view. Add two state variables. So barrier to toggle between the state and opacity to change the opacity when the story view is dragged. Open story's thumb view and add a binding boolean variable show barrier. Inside the on tab, just toggle show barrier value and bind the value from content view. Inside the Z stack, after the navigation view, we will add the barrier. So add the if block to check if barrier is true. Then inside that, add a rectangle shape, set the foreground color to black with opacity, and pass our state variable opacity. Then add ignore shape area. Now inside the on drag, set opacity to dy by device height and then try to drag the story. And we can see the opacity is changing inversely. We can subtract this value from 1 and now we get the expected animation. Set the opacity to initial value from inside on drag ended. Now we need to toggle the show barrier value, which will be false. We can do that from inside the else block. Finally, it's time we work on the match geometry effect. So open story view and copy the Z stack and open story's thumb view and paste after the circle shape. Add the index, also add a frame small enough to hide behind the thumbnail image. Open content view, add two namespace, private variables, story namespace, and thumb namespace. We also need to store the story opening duration. Set it to 0.2 seconds or 200 milliseconds. Open story's thumb view and add two constants, story namespace and thumb namespace of type namespace.iz, and also the duration. Add match geometry effect on this Z stack. Set the ID to story, then current index using string interpolation. Pass the namespace. Finally, embed this inside a if block and check if story view is not true. Next, add match geometry effect on image view after this clip shape. As usual, set the ID and namespace. Go back to content view, pass two namespaces and the duration. I forgot to add the duration. So open story's thumb view and inside the on tab gesta, we have to wrap show story with animation. Otherwise, we won't see any switching animation. Set curve to ease out with the duration. Next, open story view, and similar to story's thumb view, we also require those two namespaces here. Just like we did in story's thumb view, we have to add math geometry effect here, exactly on the same views with same modifiers. Now we need index for individual story view. So add index at the top and update the assets names. Go back to content view and pass those two namespaces. Also pass 1 to index for now. If you notice the barrier appearing instantly when we tapped on the thumbnail image. To fix that, inside the on tab gesture, we can add animation delay when we toggle show barrier and set delay to opening duration so it will appear when the story view animation is done. The live preview is showing weird animation, so run on simulator and you can see the barrier animation delay. At this moment, we are showing same story view image for all thumbnail images. So wrap the story view with a for each range and set the range from 1 to less than 11. Remember, we have 10 image assets and pass the index to story view initializer. If we open story view, we can see all stories are now opening at the same time, but we need to show only the selected story view. To fix this, add the state variable selected index, and it doesn't matter what the initial value is. Open story's thumb view, then add binding for selected index and update the value when inside the on tab gesture. Then bind the selected index from content view. Next, inside the for each here, wrap story view in a if block and check if selected index is equal to this index. Then we will show that exact story view. And we can see we get to see the different images. If you notice closely, at this moment the switching animation is fading animation because the default switching for math geometry effect is fade animation, but we want scale animation. So open story's thumb view and after the math geometry effect modifier, add transition scale and set to 1 and do it after all math geometry effect. If we reveal the app, we can see some weird animation. I don't know if this bug is in SwiftUI or not. So inside the story view, if we change scale from 1 to 0.99, then the issue resolves. Now if we drag story view, we don't see any background thumbnail image. We don't want that. We only want to hide the selected thumbnail. So to fix that, open story's thumb view. In this if block, add an OR operator, then check if selected index not equal to current index. Next, for this stack, we can add another logic to the if block, add an AND operator and check if selected index is equal to current index. To explain this to you, I'm gonna comment out this top thumb image, then also remove the selected index is equal to index from this stack and then try to rebuild, and you can see the story images are always visible. So if I commented that back and you reveal, then they won't be visible all the time. It will only be visible when we tap on that thumb image. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you found this helpful, then please make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Also, if you want to support me and help me create more content, please consider becoming patron on Patreon. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.